If this show is going to do what I think it's doing, we are in for one crazy ride. No pun intended. This was such a good episode. I think it was a real big step up from last week's. I liked last week's, but this one really got the plot moving forward and actually did it pretty fast. A lot more happened than what I thought would happen, so we're going to break it down like usual, and then I'm going to give my thoughts. As always, please leave a like and subscribe. We're on that road to 100 subscribers, and let me know down below what you thought of this episode. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, this episode starts off on a planet we've never seen before. I'm totally kidding. We are back, of course, at Tatooine. And of course, who are we going to see here on Tatooine? None other than Pelimoto. She's sort of served as Grogu's babysitter in the past, but now she kind of is sort of this helping hand for Mando, and she actually has all these droids who work on his ship, etc. So Mando shows up to Peli's house and is like, hey, I need some parts for an IG unit. So I guess he's actually trying to still fix the IG unit that he smashed last episode. But she says, look, I can't help you. I'm sorry. But she's got something better. And what's better than an assassin IG unit? The literal droid that started it all in episode 4, R4. It's so weird seeing a droid that was actually there at the beginning of Star Wars making a comeback. And yeah, R4 goes on this journey to Mandalore with Din and Grogu. It was just kind of surreal seeing this droid. I know it's not that big of a deal, but it was really cool because, you know, this droid has interacted with Luke Skywalker and almost replaced R2-D2 in his position. Could you imagine? So Din and Grogu are on their way to Mandalore, and we have these really sweet moments between them two, and he actually is just telling the history of Mandalore and kind of giving Grogu life lessons. Now, Grogu is over 50-something years old already, so yeah, he does still talk like a baby and walk like a baby, but I'm pretty sure he understands what Din is saying here. And Grogu actually grows up quite a bit in this episode, I think. They arrive on Mandalore, and it isn't what I thought it was going to be. It actually is a barren wasteland. I thought the Empire maybe had swindled people into believing that Mandalore wasn't habitable, but in a way, it still is. It's destroyed, sure, but it is still hospitable. Din's whole goal here is to bathe in the waters, the living waters of Mandalore, in order to regain his sort of position and standing in the Children of the Watch. They start going in these caves, and this episode really did give off sort of a horror vibe. This really reminded me of that episode back in season 2, I believe it was, where they had to rescue the frog lady and the kids, and they had those giant ice spiders in the cave. It really reminded me of that. But when we're under there, we see this giant underground city, and this was like the city center for Mandalore, and it was gorgeous to look at. At the same time, it's super creepy. They fight these like cave Bigfoot monsters, and they're really cool, but Din is having a problem again using the Darksaber. It's still super heavy. It's not really working with him. And this may be foreshadowing, you know, what happens with Din. Will he learn to wield this weapon with power, or will he have to give it to somebody else? Because the weapon itself technically isn't heavy. It is just a matter of the user who is holding the weapon using it correctly and knowing what that weapon means. Din finds a buried Mandalorian helmet in the ground and then gets trapped by this creepy creature. It reminded me a lot of General Grievous and his bodyguards mixed somewhat with like the pod racers from A Phantom Menace. Dude was really creepy. So he basically traps Din and is like sucking out his blood or something. It's really gross. I'm telling you, this episode is a horror episode. And how is he gonna get out of this? Well, Grogu. This is the first time we're seeing Grogu on his own having to do something without the protection of Din. And let me just tell you, he totally takes care of business. We see him multiple times in this episode do jump flips like Yoda, and I can't wait to see how his skills develop later on, and I just want to see more of this because it was awesome. He ends up escaping the tunnels and the caves and doing all of these force moves, and it really shows how powerful he can become. Din told Grogu to go get Bo-Katan from her planet and bring her here to help. So that's what he does. He leaves this planet, leaves Din on this planet, and he's very like scared and sad, but he knows what has to be done. It was really weird how we can get this sense of genuine emotion from a puppet / fake CG character. He arrives at Bo-Katan's castle, you know, with the help of R4 guiding him there, and she says something kind of strange. She's basically telling her droid that since Din is back, she wants to end this once and for all. Now, does this mean she wants to kill Din and take the Darksaber? You know, this is kind of suggestive here. She finds out that Din actually isn't in the N1 starfighter, and it's just Grogu, and he needs help. Now, Bo-Katan here is a complete force to be reckoned with. She is strong and powerful and is just taking out anything that gets in her way. Now, with that said, when they actually finally reach Din, she gets the Darksaber for a few minutes and she is swinging it like a knife through butter. She is so good with it. And remember, this isn't the first time she's actually had the Darksaber, so she knows how to use it, and she has the respect of the weapon. We have this really awesome fight between Bo-Katan and the creature that's holding Din captive, and of course, she takes it out. It was a really cool fight. It was a little bit dark, but I think that's just because, the mood that it's trying to establish. And this is a dark cave, so yeah, it just makes sense. Beautiful cave, but dark. Bo is telling Grogu all of these things about Mandalorians and how, your dad isn't the only Mandalorian. And it was really interesting because Grogu, you can tell he is understanding this. They finally arrive at the living waters and Din finally atones for his transgressions. Din is entering the water and giving this speech, and Bo kind of looks at him. For a moment, you really get the idea that maybe she accepts his lifestyle, his philosophy, and the Children of the Watch's philosophy, and how important it is to have her people back together as one. But of course, the peace doesn't last long. Out of nowhere, a creature attacks Din and pulls him under the water. Bo-Katan dives in to save him. She can't find him for a bit, but then she does. At this point, we have no idea what's under this water, and as she's diving deeper and deeper, it was really scary because, the visibility is very, very low. And if you've ever thought about being underwater or even in open water, not knowing what's surrounding you, it's terrifying. She finds Din, gets Din, but on their way up, they see this creature. Now, this isn't any random creature. This is the creature. The one and only, the Mythosaur. If you don't know about the Mythosaur, this is the defined creature of the Mandalorian. We see the sigil of this creature on the arm plates of Boba Fett, plenty of bounty hunters, and actually serves as a symbol for the bounty hunters. It's held in regard as the most sacred creature, and let me tell you, this means way more than we think it does. When Bo realizes what's down there, she looks in shock and in awe. She realizes that she may no longer need the Darksaber to rule Mandalore. Because guess what? The Mythosaur trumps the Darksaber 100%. And the crazy thing is, everybody thought that they were extinct, including her. They get out of the water, Bo looks down, completely shocked, and the episode ends. Now, this is crazy. This entire episode was completely action-packed and just a fun adventure that furthered the plot way more than I thought it would. We're already getting Bo-Katan and Din Djarin back together, fighting alongside each other, but still having some tension between them. Grogu is advancing like crazy. He's using the Force so much, and I can't wait to see where this goes in even the next couple episodes. We're only 2 episodes in. We have plenty to go, and I definitely think we're going to be seeing more of that as we progress. Also, if this is just episode 2, where is the series going to go next? It's definitely not the last time we're going to see the Mythosaur, and I have a feeling either Bo or Din is going to end up riding the Mythosaur and claiming Mandalore once again. The show is really rerouting its roots back to where it all started. We had the Jedi, and we had Ahsoka, Luke, etc. in the last season, but this is really honing us back in on the core values of what this show is technically about. I have a feeling we're going to see plenty more Mandalorians in this season, and if you really think about it, most of the trailer footage that we have seen was from these first 2 episodes. I feel like they're hiding so much, and that's a good thing. Because man, if they're getting this deep into it this early on, we are in for a ride. A couple highlights for me this episode was seeing Grogu using the Force, and of course Bo-Katan being the action powerhouse that she is. And Katie Sackhoff does such an amazing job giving this stoic, powerful character life. She voiced this character in Rebels and the Clone Wars, and we're getting to see this in live action in the perfect way. At the same time, this is kind of making me scratch my head. Where is this going? Clearly, the Mythosaur setup isn't just to show one and done. No, this creature is very important, and I know we're going to see it again. It's also exciting because this episode ends on Mandalore. We haven't left the planet. Typically, we go to different planets every episode, but this one may be sticking around longer than we think. And that's a good thing. I want to learn more and more about what happened after the purge, etc. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Did you like the episode? Did you not? I personally loved this episode, and it's so nice seeing Star Wars fans agree on all of these different things and the fact that Star Wars is just back. The Bad Batch episode that released today was also incredible. It was super dark and gritty. I haven't done any videos on the Bad Batch, but I just might after this one. The world building is just so great already in this season, and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are truly just masterminds, and I cannot wait. I keep saying it. I cannot wait to see what is next. These guys are the future of Star Wars, and they have been for the past couple years, and if it stays this way, that's definitely something to be excited about. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.